any houses to be demolished, whether it is a house of a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu or a non-believer. No, don't think that the house of a Muslim is bulldozed. I will say that it is the constitution which has been bulldozed. Swami Vivekananda says that in the name of casteism, some Hindus, they even do not look into the face, even do not want to face the lower caste Hindus. In Tamil Nadu, though we are only 6% of the population, Muslims, we play a very good role in the development of the state as well as promoting communal harmony among all the sections of the people.
फेडरल हुकूमत ने, मरकज़ी हुकूमत ने फ़ौज में भर्ती के लिए जो नई स्कीम लाई है, अग्निपथ के नाम से ये स्कीम लाई गई है, उस हवाले से मुल्क भर में एहतजाज हो रहा है, एक आग सी लगी हुई है। इसी हवाले से हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए आज मौजूद हैं तमिलनाडु असम्बली के रुकन प्रोफेसर मोहम्मद जवाहरुल्लाह साहब, जिनका ताल्लुक़ एक ऐसी जमात से है जिसका नाम है TMMK, यानी तमिल मुस्लिम मनित्रा कड़गम। आइए उनसे जानते हैं कि वो अग्निपथ के बारे में उनके क्या ख्यालात हैं और इस वक्त जो कुछ भी मुल्क में हो रहा है वो क्यों हो रहा है और इसकी वजूहत क्या है, इसको किस तरह से दूर किया जा सकता है। मिस्टर जवाहरुल्लाह, यू आर वेलकम टू आवर प्रोग्राम। व्हाट डू यू वांट टू से अबाउट द न्यू स्कीम लॉन्च बाय द फेडरल गवर्नमेंट, यूनियन गवर्नमेंट, द अग्निपथ? The country is now on the boil.
It was not surprising that the government and Mr. Narendra Modi came out with this Agnipath scheme. I said it's not surprising because whatever methodology this government, Narendra Modi's government, is following is a copybook edition of what Hitler did during the Nazi days in Germany. He had a military to support all his oppressive tactics and all the horrendous things which he did against the Jewish minorities or the non-Aryans in Germany. He was supporting an army which was called as SA. Then he had differences of opinion with the person who led SA, and in one very swift operation, the person who led the SA army was killed along with his followers, and then he formed another army which was called as SS. This SS was formed with breakaway people from the SA army. Now, if you look into all the happenings which are in front of us ever since Sri Narendra Modi ji took over as the Prime Minister of India in 2014, you will see that slowly and steadily this country, our beloved country, secular democratic India, is fast turning into a fascist state. The government led by Sri Narendra Modi ji is an utter failure. Whenever he announces some schemes and it results in a failure, the whipping boys, I am using that word, are Muslims. Take the instance of the demonetization which was announced on November 8, soon after Sri Modi became the Prime Minister. It was a big disaster to the country, and it hit the economy to the utmost extent. At that time, you will see that a lot of lynching was going against Muslim. The love jihad bogey was taken up, and all these things were in the forefront, and people were diverted. The masses, the Indian masses, were diverted from the real issues afflicting the country, and their attention were turned against Muslims.
But what we are watching, that in Tamil Nadu, particularly in southern state, there is not so much protest against this scheme. Why?
No, I'm answering your question. Just be patient. I'll come to that.
Look my side.
I'll come to that. Then the way in which after Mr. Modi took over as Prime Minister again in 2019, then he had to face this corona pandemic, and we know what a disaster it was. And he unilaterally bypassing the parliament, he announced a total lockdown. Then how our migrant laborers suffered. And before that, let us not forget that the trifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir, then the Citizenship Act, the big protest against that.
There is a long list of
list of failures.
Yeah.
Now, ultimately, when one after another, all his schemes are a miserable failure, and when this Narendra Modi government, though Sri Modi ji saluted the constitution, gave a namaste to constitution, all the ethos of constitutions have been crumbled. Not only I am talking about the minority rights or the problems which Muslims are facing, but even if you take the rights of the states, they are being trampled upon. And we, in states like opposition ruled states like Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, and in other states like Kerala, they put a governor who is a blockade to all the development and welfare schemes which that particular state want to do for its people.
Yeah.
Now, finally, all this methodology which Modi ji and his government are adopting has very similar parallel to what Hitler did. Hitler also used democracy as a platform to implement his fascist ideologies. Now, ultimately, the cat has come out of open, and now this Agnipath scheme is nothing but only a scheme to recruit people for the Sangh Parivar. And the confessional statement of one of the office bearers of BJP saying that after 4 years of service, this Agniveers will be given security job in BJP is an open confession that after 4 years of Agnipath, these people are going to be henchmen of the Sangh Parivar.
But Jawahrullah Sahab, we are not witnessing any protest in the south against this scheme, Agnipath scheme. Why?
No, it's wrong that there are no protests in the south. There have been protests, especially in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, in Karnataka, and even in Tamil Nadu. The railways stopped giving platform tickets. That happened in Tamil Nadu also. We had big agitations right in front of War Memorial in Tamil Nadu. And even today, some political parties, they have organized protest today also. So it's not true that there are no protests in Tamil Nadu.
You mentioned Germany, Italy, that these people are, the ruling class is inspired by these ideology. But there is a vast difference between India and Germany. They are, in a true sense, they are one nation. One nation means they have a single language, single religion, single culture. In India, there are more than 3,000 caste communities. It is vast, a very diverse country. So how do you compare both these countries?
Overtly, what you are saying may be true, but actually, in fact, what RSS and BJP aims is a replica of what the Nazis did in Germany. Though I agree that there was one race, one language, and India is a multicultural, multi-linguistic, multi-religious, multicultural thing. But have you not heard that one nation, one vote, one nation, one ration card, one nation, one language, one nation, one religion? It is there. So they artificially, though India is a plural society, artificially the BJP and the Parivar are instilling a condition that as if India is not a plural country, but it is a unilateral country, which is not true. So there again they are taking from the copybook of Hitler and Mussolini.
What we are witnessing, when Muslims come on the street, they are treated very badly. Unconstitutional methods are applied. Now we are seeing what kid glows, now treating the Agnipath protester are being as kid glows. So why this is happening? Double standard.
This is purely a double standard. When there were some protests against the very blasphemous remarks made by the BJP's then national spokesperson, there were protests in some parts of the country, including Kanpur, Allahabad, etc., etc. And as a rebuke, or as a retaliation, the government betraying the constitution, throwing away into the dustbin the laws of the country, they demolished the houses of the protesters. It happened even in Delhi also. What happened in Jahangir Puri is known to all of us. Now, against Agnipath scheme, people are burning the trains. Well, but we have not heard even a single instance where the state government or the central government has taken steps to punish them by demolishing their houses.
Yeah.
We do not want any houses to be burnt. Any houses to be demolished, whether it is a house of a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu or a non-believer. No. Everything should be done according to the laws of the country.
Yeah.
If someone is an aggressor, if someone has illegally constructed a building on a plot which doesn't belong to him, then again the laws of the country has given a method of acting upon that.
Yeah. It's
not simply bringing down the bulldozer, taking up the thing and demolishing it. But unfortunately, a vast majority of the judiciary has also failed the constitution. Otherwise, what could one say when the Supreme Court hearing the Gyanvapi Masjid controversy went against its own judgment, the judgment given in the Babri Masjid case delivered by 5 judges, and one of them was the judge who heard this Gyanvapi Masjid issue. So in the Babri Masjid demolition case, they very categorically said that this is an exception, and as far as the other places of worship is concerned, the act passed in 1991, and the places of worship special provision, protection special provisions act, that would be the act for all other temples, churches or masjids. So Gyanvapi Masjid comes under that category. Now straight away the Supreme Court should have dismissed the petition which wanted to interfere into the act, whereas the same one of the judges who gave the judgment in the Babri Masjid case, he himself refers it to a district judges court. So in fact it is as one Justice Koshe Patel very clearly told, this is a contempt of one's own judgment. So here we see that the judiciary has failed the constitution, the executive has failed the constitution. Don't think that the house of a Muslim is bulldozed. I will say that it is the constitution which has been bulldozed.
Coming to your native state, Tamil Nadu, I think you elected second time.
Yes.
To the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. Please tell us the political position of Muslim in your state.
In Tamil Nadu, Muslims form only 6% of the population, and our organization, Tamil Nadu Muslim Munneta Kalagam, it was formed in 1995 in the aftermath of the demolition of Babri Masjid. Now we are living in a plural society wherein the relationship between Muslims as minorities as well as the various sections of the other communities, Hindus, Christians, non-believers, who are agnostic, etc., should be very cordial. So right from 1995, on the one side fighting for the constitutional rights of Muslims, we also render many service to all the people, all the sections of the people living in Tamil Nadu, so much so that we have 184 ambulances plying all over Tamil Nadu, which serves to the needs of all the people, irrespective of their caste, class or religion or other affiliations. When some disasters took place in Tamil Nadu, notably the tsunami which struck the eastern coast of India, Tamil Nadu coast particularly, in 2004, as well as during the floods, our cadres were in the forefront, helping the people who were in distress.
Rescue work.
And from 2019-20 rather, when we had this corona, with all modesty I will say that our cadres, they have performed the last rites of around 5,000 people belonging to various religious affiliation. In such a way we have served for the understanding as well as harmonious life of all the people. Tamil Nadu is a state which has a history of communal harmony. That was basically because of the Dravidian parties. The founder of Dravidar Kalagam, E.V.R. Periyar, though many may say that he is a person who said there is no God, but that is only a small part of his propagation. The very considerable amount of his work is on social justice and fighting for the rights of the BC, MBC, scheduled caste people. In that way, these Dravidian parties, TMMK, etc., they strived for communal harmony, and compared to other states, we live in a better environment. And in Tamil Nadu, Muslims are running educational institutions. We have nearly about 14 arts and science colleges run by Muslims, which is government aided. Apart from that, we have hundreds of colleges and other institutions, schools run by Muslim institutions. Tamil Nadu Muslim Munneta Kalagam fought for separate reservation for Muslim community, and in 2007, after a very long struggle, the then DMK government gave us 3.5% separate reservations for Muslims in jobs and educational institutions. So like that, in Tamil Nadu, though we are only 6% of the population, Muslims, we play a very good role in the development of the state, as well as promoting communal harmony among all the sections of the people.
One more thing, you sided earlier with AIDMK. You elected in the alliance, first time you elected. Now you switch over your side, join the DMK alliance. Why?
In 2011, when we faced the assembly elections, we were in alliance with the AIDMK, true. Now we fought the elections in the DMK alliance, mainly because, after the demise of Selvi Jayalalitha, who was AIDMK's General Secretary, AIDMK aligned with BJP. That was one of the reasons why we are now with the DMK alliance. We felt that even when Jayalalitha was alive, we felt that DMK is a better party to look after the welfare of the minorities.
Last question, Dravidian ideology is a very progressive ideology. Tamil Nadu is considered as a very progressive state. Despite that, we constantly heard the news of caste discrimination. Many incidents occurred there. Many lower caste Hindus convert to other religions. Why this is happening there?
It's a very good question. And Tamil Nadu has an history, not a recent history, but a history which is centuries old. And even Swami Vivekananda has mentioned this in his writings and as well as in his talks. Swami Vivekananda says that in the name of casteism, some Hindus, they even do not look into the face, even do not want to face the lower caste Hindus, and they do not want to touch them. They do not want to share food with them. But as far as in Tamil Nadu Muslims are concerned, irrespective of the caste affiliation, we welcome everyone into our houses. We welcome everyone in our functions. There is absolutely no discrimination in that sense. And that is the reason why for thousands, more than hundreds and hundreds years, many downtrodden caste people, they embrace Islam. And one such conversion was the one which took place in a place called Meenachipuram. That was way back in 1981, which shook to the Sangh Parivar. And at that time, the leaders of BJP, including Vajpayee, Advani ji, then Hari Kishan, Lal Kishan Advani, of course, Vishnu Hari Dalmia, Ashok Shingar, all these people descended down to that small hamlet, Meenachipuram, for performing the reconversion ceremony. And the fact is that now there are 2 generations of Muslims living in Meenachipuram. So, though our Constitution's Article 17 says untouchability is abolished and its practice in all forms is banned, literally, they could not rid of this caste prejudice. And that is the reason why we do have caste discrimination. Though the government has adopted many methods to get rid of that, it is still prevailing. Though many reformers, including Periyar and others, they have spoken against casteism, we could not rid of the shackles of casteism.
It is pleasure to talk to you, sir. Thanks for talking with Salar channel.
Thank you for you and all the viewers of Salar. It was a pleasure to talk to the viewers of Salar through this interview. Thank you.
It was Mr. Jawahrullah, a MLA from Tamil Nadu. Cameraman Zishan Rahi. I am Abdul Bari Masood from New Delhi.